Now, joining us from Cairo is the editor-in-chief of Al-Ahram, who that is Mohammed Ezz El-Din, joining us here on Qnews. Thanks for being there with us. Now, how do you view the protest that took place yesterday in front of the Egyptian embassy in Tel Aviv?
Thank you for hosting me in Qnews. Of course, first of all, it's strange and ironic. There is a dysfunction in the campus and of targets of these protests in front of the Egyptian embassy in Tel Aviv. These protests should have been in front of American and Israeli embassies around the world. But if we looked into the organizers of these protests, you will know the connection between what is called Islamic movement and Knesset and the government, Israeli government members, also between the allies allegedly or so-called Islamic movement and the remainers of a brotherhood, a terroristic brotherhood group. The most important issue is that who speaks on behalf of Gaza, and Gaza people have dysfunctioned campus as well. Also, what one of the Hamas leaders said, or the Palestinian resistance said, the necessity of opening the crossings. Maybe there is apparently there is a coordination between one of Hamas arms and some parties in Israeli government. It's very ironic, very suspicious. First of all, these protests trying to make Israel looks good in regards to the crimes in Gaza. In addition to distort pioneering Egyptian leader in dissolving the Palestinian crisis and standing against any Palestinian displacement attempts. Egypt said in the first term of in the first phase of president's term, Egypt reiterated any rejection of Palestinians' displacement and taking Sinai away of any Palestinian solutions. So when the diplomacy failed and the century agreement failed or rejected by most of countries around the world and Arab countries, now the solution is now on a plate for us in front of Israel role as the 7th of October in 7th of October attack. So this is why they are taking on Hamas as an urge to destroy buildings and kill innocents. Unfortunately, the plans of stealing territories and killing people, it's going very far away from peaceful solutions. Also, with some other members, some other brothers and other free members around the world standing against any displacement and closing or liquidating the cause. On top of them is Egypt. This protest discovered hidden connections. These protests also mean that there is desperation from Israeli government in order to make themselves look good in front of people. After the beginning of huge recognition of Palestinian and call for a two-state solution, and they call repetitive calls to end carnages in Gaza in front of distorting Egyptian role, their great role to influence the future, or to weaken the Egyptians' role in standing against attempts of Palestinians' displacements and ending Palestinian cause. What we saw is sarcastic, because the same screen that was streaming Islamic movements or affiliated to terroristic brotherhood group, they are the same screen that live streamed the connection was interrupted. The cars that that was allowed to enter Gaza Strip, it needs a reminder for the U.S. administration to stop the infinite support to Israeli and go back to balanced path again. Thank you.
Okay, so how do you assess Egypt's ongoing support for the Palestinian cause and the Gaza Strip?
Clearly, what was appeared in what was shown in the last few years with the large trucks from Egypt or from Egyptian Red Crescent or international or Egyptian institutions that contribute more than 80% of Egyptian aid, is clear enough that Egyptians are with their leaders, with the President Sisi, in supporting the Palestinian cause. Second, the two-state solution and the support to relieve the burden and relieve the suffering Palestinians live, especially in Gaza Strip. Also, there is a great importance that the Egyptian success, first of all, in gathering world countries, and the French visit, France President's visit to Egypt, and his observing to all issues in Gaza, Rafah crossing, and helped to a great West adaptation, international adaptation to the, especially the European adaptation to Palestinian cause, and re-put it again on front. The great failure, the Israeli government, and what is so-called Gaza Humanitarian Fund, by opening death traps and not opening and not aid, proved to the world, and first of all, Israeli government proved that what Egypt is requesting and demanding is the right thing. This is why the trucks, the aid trucks, are flew in by land to support Gaza, to support the reconstruction. As an effort effort exerted by President Sisi since the crisis began, with a big conference held in Egypt, then the brokery and the great efforts to ceasefire and humanitarian aid access, and then even after the Israeli army violating the truce and not implementing the second phase. Even though, despite all of this, the Egypt's role and brokery and calling upon all world leaders to interfere to relieve the burden on the Palestinians is very clear, and now it's this very clear that Egypt is the first support to Gaza, but not the least.
Well, that was Mohammed Ezz El-Din joining us from Cairo, editor-in-chief of Al-Ahram. Thank you very much indeed for joining us here on Q News.